In June of last year, you put in a requisition to travel to the different stations in different countries, country offices and all of that. And you were meant to travel to Johannesburg, Kinshasa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, Juba, Nairobi, Kilimanjaro, Dar es Salaam, Mogadishu, Burundi, and so on, to visit our teams, Uganda Airlines teams in these countries, the country offices, to establish how they are operating. Money was released per diem to you, totaling $12,750 US. When you make a conversion to Uganda shillings, that's roughly 50 million Uganda shillings. But according to the financial records of Uganda Airlines, you did not travel. What happened? Wanted to establish what exactly happened.
And will respond to you in writing.
If you can, and I don't know if the mask is the issue.
No, I'll raise my.
So then you try and project.
Yeah. What I mentioned to the Honorable is that we had prepared for financial year 2020-21 report. What he's brought up, I'll respond in writing and give the status as per his question. Thank you, sir.
So this one here, I don't think requires you to first go and look for documents and so on, because it is about you, an individual, the CEO. You know, surely you would know whether you traveled or not. You don't need to look for documents to establish, did I actually travel, you know? So it is you that I am asking, because the records show you did not travel. Well, you can dispute and say you actually traveled. Now I'm trying to understand what exactly happened. That I'm not going to wait for a written response for you to go and look for I don't know what documents.
I'll respond in writing, sir, because I did travel, but I'll respond in writing.
You traveled where?
That's why I'm saying, sir, that I'll respond in writing.
No, Jennifer, Madam JENIFER BAMUTURAKI, some of these things, so we will not allow you to run away from scrutiny by saying I will respond in writing. Because when I travel as an official, I don't all of a sudden develop amnesia to say I have either forgotten or that kind of thing. Because your records of Uganda Airlines show that you were given this per diem of $12,750 US, roughly 50 million Uganda shillings, and you did not travel. Mr. So, what I want to hear from you is either what happened that caused you not to travel, but if you're saying on record, and I must remind you, you are still all under oath, yeah, from the last time we met. If you want to tell me that you traveled, then to where? Among these destinations that you were given money to travel: Johannesburg, Kinshasa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, Juba, Nairobi, Kilimanjaro, Dar es Salaam, Mogadishu, Burundi. Which of these places did you travel to? Because the records show you did not travel. Yes, madam? No, I'm speaking to Madam Jennifer.
Like I mentioned, sir, I'll respond in writing.
Mr. Chair.
So you see, Jennifer,
Mr. Chair.
Just a second, Honorable. Except if you want to say that this inquiry is useless for us to call you here, because we would have written to you and then say, write back to us. We have that option. But when we call you here, it's because we want a verbal response. The documents that we require, you realize we normally ask you and say, please bring this document, follow it up with this, yeah? And for example, if you tell me that I traveled to place A, B, C, then I will ask you tomorrow, come with evidence to that effect. So for now, on the record, I want to know if I told you traveled, and if so, where? And if you tell me I traveled to place A, B, C, then I'll ask for documents. It's me to determine what documents I want. just to prove. I might believe you and I say you don't need to bring a document. But I might say, I want to ascertain, please bring evidence that you went to place A, B, C, D. So on the record, I want to know, did you travel to any of these places for which you received per diem?
Yes, Honorable, I did, and that's why I said I'll respond in writing and also attach where I traveled.
Okay, so before you respond in writing, which place or which places did you go to among these?
I went to Nairobi.
The phone is on. Go ahead.
I went to Nairobi. I went to Dar es Salaam. I went to Kilimanjaro. And then I will be traveling again. So that's why I'm saying I'll respond in writing the details. But I did travel, and I'll attach the proof that I traveled.
So you have said on record, I want it to be captured on record, that you went to Nairobi, you went to Dar es Salaam, you went to Kilimanjaro. Any other? Those three.
Yeah,
okay, so you did not go, I'm coming on Upindi. You have not mentioned Johannesburg, you have not mentioned Kinshasa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, Juba, Burundi. And yet you received money for all of this. This is last year, June. So what I was trying to understand is what happened, even as a wait for you to bring evidence that you traveled to those places, because the records show you did not travel. So what happened to tell us verbally? All these other places you did not go to, and yet you received the per diem to travel. This is June last year. It's over a year. What could have happened? What emergency happened that caused you not to travel? There could have been something.
Honorable, I request again that I'll respond in writing, because there's a whole list of information of why I didn't go, so I'll attach all that documentation. Thank you.
So Jennifer, before you provide that information in writing, I want it on record. That's why you're here. That's why I didn't write to you and say, give me this information in writing. So what I want to know verbally is what happened. Because you see, when I'm given money to travel as an officer of government, I'm supposed to account for that money. Yeah? If I don't travel for whatever reason, I am meant to refund this money. Okay? So you didn't travel, and you have considered many of the other places. The three you've mentioned, we shall require evidence, but for all these others, you have said, yes, you didn't travel, you're planning to travel, I don't know when, because you see the travel was meant for June of last year, the money was given to you. Because when you don't travel, you refund the money. It's possible that something can come up and you fail to travel. But when that happens, you refund the money because it has not done what it's supposed to do. So what I'm trying to understand is what could have happened that caused you not to travel, and two, why didn't you refund the money? Because it's over 1 year. You can't say, I'm keeping it, when there comes another opportunity to travel, then I'll travel. It was for specific dates, because you wrote to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works, who cleared you, and the money was provided. So you cannot say, I'm waiting, maybe after 2 years, there might be a trip for me to travel, then I account for that money. 2 questions, quickly. What happened that caused you not to travel? Well, you could say it could have been a personal reason that you don't want to share. That's okay. You put it on record. And then, why was the money not refunded now that the travel did happen? Yes, madam. On the microphone. Whatever you want to say, please speak on the record.
I will respond in writing, Honorable.
Earlier on, you were saying you have nothing to say.
I will respond in writing.
But I am saying I will want the written response. For now, I want a verbal response. Okay, tell me verbally. Did you refund the money or not? Away from the written response. Because you've only mentioned 3 places for which I will want proof that you traveled. All these others, you did not travel, and yet money was given to you. And now it's over a year. So now that you didn't travel, whatever the reason, did you refund that money? Because that's part of accountability. Either I traveled, here is evidence, or I didn't travel, but now, did you refund the money? Yes or no? It's a a simple answer, because the money was paid to you. So it can only be you to either have refunded it or that you didn't refund it. So did you refund the money? Yes or no? Madam Jennifer, I'm talking to you.
Procedure, Chair.
Yes, point of procedure.
Chair, under Rule 211 of our Rules of Procedure, now that the witness is saying she will make her response in writing, I wanted to remind her of our rules. That this committee can write for her and we send her a copy. Under Rule 211, the evidence of a witness shall be recorded and a copy of the evidence may be sent to the witness on request. So instead of her going back to write, let her submit orally. She can receive a written copy from the committee under this rule.
And that's the point that I've been making. Okay? I don't want to speak. Otherwise then, you shouldn't have come. Because you see, Jennifer, you have the option of not coming, and then we take action for you not coming. Okay? Because, again, we don't entertain, and it's within our rules. When we say come and you refuse to come, then we take a certain action. But for you to say, I have come, but I'm not going to speak, I will only send a written response. I'm coming. That I will only send a written response. Then why did you come here? Because I'm asking you verbally. Yes, Honorable Jessica.
I totally agree with your concerns. But however, I am pleading that since this is the first time that this issue is coming, and you have made specific issues for the response, and she has agreed that it is going to respond. And even at the beginning you said, when they requested for 2 weeks, we thought the 2 weeks will not come. It has come. So I am requesting that we allow her,
Order.
within a specific period
Order.
of time, to make a written
Order.
submission, and we look at it so that
Order, Chair.
if need be,
Order.
we even use the technical team
Chair,
to give
point
for
of
us a
order.
technical report, and we proceed accordingly. Chair,
Chair,
I
point
need to
of
submit.
order.
Point of order?
Do written submission on why she did not go. But I have failed to understand why she cannot respond as to whether she refunded the money in the finance department of Uganda Airline or not, because that is a simple response. Is the honorable member therefore in order to say that even me saying I refunded the money or I didn't needs a written document? Is she in order?
Further order.
Our rules don't provide for anything like further order. But
Information. Anyway, the witness before us cannot direct how he wishes to respond. We would have earlier on directed her to put all her answers in writing. If that is the way she wishes to respond, it would come from you to direct, okay, go and put further answers in writing, but not for her to state how she has to respond. Is she in order to request that me I will respond by way of writing to you?
so, just to rule on the point of order.
Chair, the Executive Director, Jennifer, has said that she will respond on some of these issues in writing. She never expected some of these questions that you are asking. Now that she has requested that she will respond in writing, Chair, even if we ask her and squeeze her, however much we squeeze her, she will not say anything. Can we move to the next item?
Procedure, Chair. Procedure, Chair.
Let me have the Vice Chairperson say something.
Honorable Chair, as a committee, we give opportunities to witnesses
to clear whatsoever doubts. They choose not to give us information. It is very clear. We go by that and we say we got no information, and we carry the query forward with our recommendation. Actually, the loss is on her. I even don't see why we are struggling so much with somebody who doesn't want to give us the answer. The loss is on her.
Chair.
So for me, the guidance I want to give, if ever she's to give any written submission, we give her a deadline, not actually by the time she reaches tomorrow. That is the first statement you give us. But the fact that you have failed to even give an oral submission, I must tell you, my sister, the loss is on you. Because an opportunity has been given to you and you have failed to utilize it. And I think the chair has been very courteous to even dig deeper and say, please, please, if it were me, I would only ask you once, by the way.
Chair, proceed.
The committee. I have a challenge with the witness determining how she will respond to issues raised by this committee. So, Honorable Joyce, you said she did not expect this question. You see, we're not going to sit with witnesses and rehearse with them all the questions we are going to ask. Otherwise, then this becomes useless. But more importantly, for me, what I would understand from Jennifer is if she gave a response and I failed to believe her. I said, no, that's not true. I have different information. Then she says, Honorable Chair, now that you don't believe my response of either I traveled or I refunded the money, let me bring evidence tomorrow backing up my response. You see the difference? But for her to say, I am not going to respond, I will put it in writing, that's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. Completely unacceptable. You cannot determine how we are going to conduct this inquiry. For me, what is acceptable is you responding and saying, for example, I traveled or I refunded the money. And then I say, but I don't believe you. I have different information. There you can say, Honorable Chair, give me a date. I bring documents proving to you that I refunded the money or that kind of thing. For me, that's what makes sense. That is what is acceptable. But you cannot say, I am not going to respond. I will put it in writing. So what are we doing here then?
Procedure, Chair. That this rule must be aware that this committee has powers of the High Court. And in executing these powers as this committee, we have a witness can be examined on oath. And examination on oath doesn't need the witness to know questions prior. And looking at the chronology of the rules, Chair, the following rule specifically provide that this committee now thereof have powers to arrest and order for confinement of a witness. For purposes of investigation, we are dealing with an Auditor General's report and matters of accountability and funds. The witness cannot recollect. She received the money according to the audit report, but cannot respond to the money she received, whether she traveled or not. This is a very pertinent matter. We have police CID attached to this committee. She's not above the law. We can invoke these powers of this committee to investigate this matter.
Honorable Hashim?
This is not the first engagement we are having with the entities in this country or this committee meeting an entity. We have met very many entities here before, Uganda Airlines. But Chair, what I'm seeing happening in meeting this entity, I think there is something somewhere wrong. And also I want to remind our members that sometimes when we come here, as if we have some conflict of interest, because we start talking things which are not supposed to come from our side before even the witnesses have said anything. Now, I want, Chair, allow me to talk to Jennifer. Jennifer, I want to tell you that this is my first time of meeting you. The other time when you came, I was not there in the meeting. But I want to say that what I heard happened many reports came that you are a very, very arrogant woman. And indeed, that is what I'm confirming today. It is very unfortunate that you are behaving very arrogantly. I saw you when you came in for the first time. You were, first wait, please, Honorable Chair, let me submit. You were offered a chair, a seat by the chair. You completely refused. You wanted to sit where you want. That completely showed to us that you had something in mind. That for me, I'm going to those committees and start doing this and that. Maybe to annoy them. In fact, you are trying to annoy us. I don't know why. Because our work is just to do the audit, what the auditors have brought to us. That's why COSASE or any other PAC committee comes in to try to help even you, whether the auditor's report is really true about you. So that is exactly what we are doing. You should know that no member of parliament or no member of this committee is here to witch hunt you, to fight you, to do what? We want to get the facts. That's why we're getting these questions. Now, Chair, from the questions you have asked, if JENIFER is saying that one question, she's going to respond in writing, how many questions is she going to get today? First question in writing, another one, maybe others will also come. We don't know, and she doesn't know. Now, there are very many witnesses that appeared here. And that is the way we have been proceeding. People have been asked questions here, and they verbally answer. Then, anything that needs in writing, they are told to write and bring. When shall we share? So I think on our side and both sides, people should learn to be serious. We are working for and start fooling others around. We left our places coming to parliament here to work. Like you are working in Ugandaairlines. We cannot interfere with your work. Before the auditor's report came here, we never came to you to look for you. You see? So it is the auditor's report that came to parliament, and parliament directed the reports to COSASE, and that's why COSASE is doing their work. Please, stop being arrogant, whether you have protection from anybody, even the president of Uganda. He's our president. We shall tell him if he's really the one protecting you. I want to be on record on this. Even if the president, we shall tell the president, please, this is not the right way to do things. Because we have to get the facts from the auditor's report. Now, if the president, maybe if it is true, what is going on, that the president is the one maybe protecting, that's why you are big-headed. So the president should be stopping everything parliament is doing because he has his people in the, wherever he has posted them. That is very wrong. We shall not allow even the president. We shall tell him. So if you think that somebody is there in government protecting you to come and start undermining us here, then it will not happen. Chair, I'm now getting annoyed. I may even get out.
From this issue, like this. So I put it to JENIFER about this money, which she received as per diem. And by her own admission, many of the places she didn't travel to, and that's last year. I asked her whether she refunded the money. She remained mute. You see, for us lawyers, many times, silence means a green light. And so, we are going to enter it on record that that money was not refunded. Honorable Itungo, you cannot sit there, sir. Otherwise, we shall hammer you with too many questions. That's for the witnesses. I'm going to request that you get a seat somewhere the other side so that you survive the bazookas coming from this side. So I think let's move away from this issue. She has not responded on whether she refunded the money or not. My assumption is she didn't refund it. Otherwise, she would say so on record, and then I would tell her, okay, bring evidence that you refunded it. But the fact that she has refused to respond saying she refunded it, that money was not refunded. So let's move to something else. So that process that was followed, if any, in hiring a company called Abavata. And we wrote a letter asking for a couple of documents. I'm hoping those documents have been brought. Could we table them? Yes, madam. You know, for me, my engagement is with the accounting officer. Then you can choose whoever you want to respond to a specific issue.
Honorable, I'll ask my colleague Paul to respond, sir. Thank you. I'll ask my colleague Paul, the Director of Finance, to respond, sir.
We received the letter yesterday evening. In fact, Chairman, the letter reached us yesterday evening. In fact, it reached to my attention after work. So we've commissioned a team that is putting up the documents together. Since in the letters we are supposed to appear again, we will come with the documents available on the next appearance tomorrow.
Yeah, but you see, it's also erroneous when you say that you just point of procedure.
Chair, I raised it earlier because I had sensed the direction we are taking. And as the senior person who has been dissolved. Otherwise, the way we are proceeding, now the second phase we are bringing, he received a later date. He is going to conclude by saying he has not submitted the report. Then you go to a third one. I think, Chair, let's adjourn this meeting. It's a normal way. They go out, they organize themselves with their lawyers. We organize ourselves in 5 minutes. Then we proceed. That's my advice. It's requesting for standover, not
Okay.
Chair,
thank you for...
Chair, let me make it clear to
No, I've actually got it.
No, to my colleague.
I think that we are able to proceed. Again, like I'm saying, where there is no response, it's okay, we put it on record, okay? Now we are dealing with a different matter, and he's saying they got the communication late. And I'm saying, of course, that's erroneous, because our clerk has been in touch with your team, shared the soft copy version in the morning. And again, this is an issue we have been interrogating. However, at least on this one, you're saying you're putting together the documents and you're going to bring them tomorrow. That's okay. My challenge is when there is seeming big-headedness, I will not even respond. Because now at least you have responded and said, we got the letter, we are putting together the documents that were requested for, we are bringing them tomorrow. That's a response, because anyhow, we asked you for written documents. Yeah? But to say, for me, I'm not going to respond, I will put everything in writing. Okay, so at least there's confirmation of receipt of that letter, put together all those documents. We want to establish how this, just to re-emphasize, how Abavata was hired, where procurement guidelines followed, if at all, okay, how many other companies bidded for that job. Because I saw it was worth about what, 540,000 US dollars. That's quite a bit of money. Yeah, so how many other companies bidded? How did you eventually zero down on these ones? Then invoices, and then evidence of payments thus far, you know, and the status of the contract. Now, the other issue that we wanted to understand from this team was the event of the receipt of the first bombardier, yeah, where a total of 778.7 million was spent, and we understand the guest list was 600 people. What it was established if all the 600 actually showed up, and what was this money spent on exactly? Because 778 million, from where we sit, we saw people were there, they got some drinks, they got some eats, and we understand this money went to that, except if we receive contrary information. We wanted to understand, because it did make sense to us. When you do some quick tabulation, CEO, you want to respond, or Paul, the finance person? Okay, that's all right.
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable, I would like Paul, my colleague, Director of Finance, to respond. I would like my colleague, Paul Turachai Senga, the Director of Finance, to respond. Thank you, Honorable Members.
The event happened in April 2019, sorry. I joined in July 2019. So I was not there when the event happened. However, I was responsible for the reporting for the financial year that ended June 2019. So I'm privy to the documents that support that expenditure. So from the expenditure that you mentioned, it was all about arranging the event and publicizing it, right from informing the public that the planes are going to arrive, organizing the event on that day, event management basically, in short, and the supporting documents are available for that event.
Yes, Honorable Kamba.
That he is privy to the documents and he was responsible to compile the financial statements of the year end. So I wanted to ask him, in your view, in your opinion, was there value for money for that expenditure?
Thank you, Chairman. In our view, the higher side, and when we had similar events subsequently, we negotiated it lower. So I think the other one was the first of its kind, and we all learned through experiences. So subsequently, we were more effective. And when you look at the 3 or 4 events that we've had, because we first got the bombardiers, we got the second set of bombardiers, then the Airbuses came in batches, the first one and the 4th. So we had about 4 events. But when you look at all of them, there are efficiencies in each of them. Thank you.
Could you paint us a picture of the difference between the first and these ones that we've been organizing?
Thank you. The first one, Chair, may you allow me to get the details such that since I'm on record, I come with them tomorrow.
Chair, supplementary.
Okay, maybe
a small event, much as you were saying that it was on the higher side, but the connotation of the first event, you want to tell me that whenever we buy another plane, we do a party for it? Because we were saying soon we were going to buy a third Airbus, so we're preparing for another party.
Thank you, Chair. And that's why I've asked for time to look at it, because when you...
Okay, maybe Jennifer would speak to us on this issue too, because at the time you were of the process of actually getting the company that organized the event on board. So paint a picture for us, what transpired that justifies this 778 million. You were the commercial director.
Honorable, yes, I was. And like I mentioned the last time, my first day of work was the 23rd of April. What I know is that there was a procurement process that came to that amount of money, which I was not privy to at the time. So like my colleague Paul says, let's look up the documentation and be able to see whether they followed the procurement process or not.
But when you say you started work on 23rd, I have a contract, your contract here, which you signed on 4th April 2019 as commercial director. You signed it here as JENIFER BAMUTURAKI Lenkai. And by the way, you know, just to give you some quick legal advice, please sort out the issue of your name. Yeah, because you saw a deed poll saying you're now Jennifer Arnold Lenkai, is it? Something? You said that's not your name, but when you were signing this contract, you included the Lenkai name. This is the contract you signed, except if you want to. Is it you who signed this contract? Just take a look at it. See who signed. Yeah, so you used the Lenkai name, which the last time you were here, you denied this name. And yet we showed you did polls showing you had changed your name. And true to it, you signed a contract including the Lenkai name. So the legal advice I'm giving you, you see, people can change names for whatever reason. Yeah. If you're no longer interested in this name, go through the process and revoke this name. Because it is your name. That's why you even use it to sign contracts. So stop confusing yourself and the public. Yeah? Whichever name you want to go by. Even if you want to completely now change your name to Beatrice, Jennifer, whatever, go through the process. You said you came with a lawyer. I don't know why your lawyers don't help you. The senior counsel there, you have a lawyer here. Please sort out this issue. We showed you a deed poll, which you swore and signed, and then you said, that was in the past, I changed my mind, but there's no evidence that you changed. Here is a contract you signed with that name. Please sort this issue out. And it's easy. If that man really is a serious lawyer, he should advise you on how to deal with this situation. Yeah? Act on the report we are writing. Who are we dealing with? It's confusing. Yes, Honorable Roland.
You don't need to gloss over it. It is it has a huge impact. If the name is not clear and you don't know the person you're dealing with, even the contracts which are being signed might be null and void when they are taken on, maybe in the courts of law. So it needs to come out clearly and with timelines when this matter should be sorted. If we don't have that clarity on whom we are dealing with, even now, us here as a committee, we are in a dilemma. Because someone who is appearing, we don't know which person we are dealing with. So it's a matter that doesn't need to be taken lightly. It needs to be sorted out so that we are clear on what person we are dealing with. Thank you.
Thank you.
The variance in the cost, because they said the root causes for the escalation of the pricing that made us to overpay. Lastly, my question goes to the...
Okay. The first one that was raised by... because how long on average, especially the lawyers who are in very direct practice, not like some of us, how long does it take to change a name? Yes, on the mic?
This person takes 1 week because it requires to go to the Gazette. And the Gazette comes out once a week. But for a special person like the ED, even within 2 days it is possible.
What we do, because this is an issue that, like Honorable Roland is saying, it is more serious than we think, yeah? Jennifer, 2 weeks to sort out the issue of your name. Yeah, just a second. 2 weeks, please sort out the issue of your name, determine who you want to be called, work through the process, because you had changed. You signed the deed poll and so on, and that's why you're signing a contract with the name Lenkai. And
so
yet,
Chairman,
you keep saying, for me that is not my name, but you have admitted to having signed this contract, yeah?
Mr. Chairman.
So to avoid confusing us and yourself.
Mr. Chairman, will also that one be part of our recommendations in the report, that we advise her to change the name?
So you see, my dilemma is, I'm also wondering, who am I dealing with here? You see my challenge? Yeah, so that's why I'm advising her, put your name issues right. Me, I don't care what you want to be called, huh? That's your business. But let it be legally proper. Because you remember when you were here, you said, yes, you had changed your name, but you changed your mind. ask you, did you go back to the lawyer to sign another deed poll and swear another affidavit? You said no. So meaning the name remained. Little wonder it is the name you're using to sign contracts, yeah? So decide. So that is clear to us also. For example, in our report, are we going to say JENIFER BAMUTURAKI or JENIFER Arnold Lenkai? You know, Council, please advise Madam JENIFER, let's sort out this issue. It shouldn't become a big deal. Because a name, no one can force you to be what you don't. You can change your name to whatever any day. But sort it out so that it's clear legally. You know, Council, please help your client to sort out this issue. It shouldn't become one of those, you know, issues that are raising a lot of dust. And yet it is, legally speaking, because... Okay, Honorable Santa wanted to give information.
Was in line with what you have already presented now. That the first time we met her, JENIFER, she indicated that she wanted to change her name, but later on she changed her mind for not changing her name anymore. Now the problem comes that when she signs a document like that with a different name, then it becomes a problem the way you are explaining. So it is now JENIFER to tell us exactly what her names are so that we know who she is. But for now, and in the signature which she put, because she said she was not intending to change her name. So what is her name now? Can we look at that document of schools? What was her name before and what is her name now? Because she's now 2, 3 different people. Thank you.
Chair, this is an accountability committee which is evidence-based. But number 2, we have these gadgets. These gadgets are for record purposes, not only amplifying the information. So my view, Chair, I just want to concur with my colleague there that it should be Madam JENIFER to be on record that what we are talking about my name, the clear information on my name is this. And if there is something which is not clear, just give me 1 week or 2 weeks. I go and sort that to myself, and then I come and do it and present my exact identity. Otherwise, if we direct as a committee that should go and work out on her names and come back, Chair, it may not work well. So for record purposes and for evidence-based committee, let us give her a chance and she be on record that she has requested the committee that the confusion in her names will be sorted out ABCD. That's my request, Mr. Chairman.
I represent the people of Elokonos and a member of this committee. Mr. Chairman, I recall very well when the Honorable Minister appeared before this committee, that's General Katumba Wamala, we raised the issue of academic documents for Madam JENIFER. And he assured the committee that he had talked to her to avail the committee with her documents. My question is, please, I'm speaking. My question is, are the documents ready as of now? And has she come along with them? So that it can even also help us to clarify the issue of names. Maybe the documents speak louder than what she's telling us. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
What name do you want to go by as far as this committee is concerned, and certainly the public?
Honorable members, the last time we appeared before you, you asked me the same question, Honorable, and my name is JENIFER BAMUTURAKI. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so what you're going to do in these 2 weeks with the help of your lawyer, he really looks like a serious lawyer. The face is even familiar a bit. Yeah, let him help you to now change your name back to JENIFER BAMUTURAKI. Because you changed your name to JENIFER Arnold Lenkai. There is a deed poll and there's contracts you have signed with the name Lenkai. So if you have changed your mind, then there's a process to go back to deed poll, affidavit, and then gazette. I think it shouldn't be complicated. For me, that's not even an issue that should, take a lot of our time. So please help her, Council. Do it within 2 weeks, and give us evidence as well, yeah? Because we want to know, because right now, the Lenkai name legally is part of you. You signed the deed poll, you signed a contract with the name. So you cannot just on the microphone say, I have renounced the name. No, there is a process. So please go through that process with your client. I believe even in a week, you know, if you pursue this matter, you can deal with it. We're just giving maximum of 2 weeks, but, you know, in a week, you're able to deal with it. So please take it as a directive from this committee. It's not a request. It's a directive because our report has to have a particular name. Okay? And the name we want to go by is the one that is legally recognizable. Because now, if we include Lenkai, you're saying that's not your name. And it is the one on record, it's the one you signed contracts with. So if you don't want it anymore, go through the process quickly and then change it so that we deal with this issue. Honorable Tungo, why don't we move from this issue?
Chairman.
Honorable Casilo, you're very welcome, sir. Yes, Honorable.
And she's here. Why doesn't she go on record and say, give me time when I do this? In her own words, that we captured in record. Just
no, let's not go in circles. She has stated that the name she wants to go by is JENIFER BAMUTURAKI. That's okay. However, I've told her to make that, which she has admitted. I thought she was going to say it's a forgery. She has admitted she's the one who signed with the name Lenkai.
Honorable, the week we were supposed to return, my documents were brought to you, sir, by Honorable Byamukama, and they were handed over. So I didn't get a response, but I passed them on because you had asked me to bring them immediately the next day. So that day when we didn't turn up and we sent something in writing, I also sent the documents through, sir.
You sent the documents to who?
Honorable Byamukama, our line minister of state for transport, when he came to the parliament to discuss our meeting, he brought some documents.
So
At least I gave him because I wasn't available to deliver them myself, but he brought them. However,
so the minister is now your delivery person, your courier, your...
No, sir, I didn't say that. What I mentioned was he was coming to meet you regarding our meeting, and like you mentioned in the meeting you had with him. So I passed on the documents to him because they were supposed to be given to you on that day. But if you did not receive them...
Let's do this. Please provide those documents to our clerk.
Oh, I will do that.
Okay? It helps because you see, I have a letter. So the Vice Chancellor says, yes, you were a student, you did the degree. But then what he attaches is a copy of the graduation book. Yeah? He did not attach the transcript.
Okay, sir. I'll send them today.
So please do, because you see, when you're looking for a job, you don't show them a newspaper or graduation book and say, you see, I actually studied, here is my name. You show the transcript. So he did not attach it. You know, so please provide it.
I'll do that today. I'll send them to the clerk by end of day today.
You have been having some back and forth with the Vice Chancellor. I first said you told a lie, you should apologize, that your documents were lost and all of that. But you see, the other issue that the Vice Chancellor states in his letter, and I didn't even want to get back to this academic document thing, but now that is coming up. So the last sentence of his document, it says, Father, I wish to inform you that Ms. Bamuturaki Jennifer applied for the Master of Arts in Public Administration and Management program and has been recommended for admission in the 2022-2023 academic year. Now, your CV says this program is ongoing. You are doing it already. But the Vice Chancellor of the university, where you say this program is ongoing, says you have been recommended for admission to this master's and it is going to start this academic year, which starts next month. So, you know, there are some small lies, I will call them small lies even when they are not small, that are not necessary, you know. On your CV, you put what you have. You know, when you say that this program is ongoing, this master's, and the Vice Chancellor wrote to me and he's saying, yes, she applied for that master's and she has been recommended for admission in the 2022-2023 academic year. So which is starting next month. This is the letter of the Vice Chancellor. You saw it. Yeah, so just sort out your CV also. You know, put facts as they are. Don't tell what you might think are small lies, because they also catch up with you. For a person of your stature, the position you occupy, if you haven't enrolled for a program, it is okay for you to say, I applied, I am waiting to be recommended, you know. It seems small, but it's a serious thing. You know, in other cases, it could actually be seen as false evidence or whatever the case might be, uttering false documents, you know. I don't want to get there. Now me, I'm just giving you advice, you know. At least, you know, if you're just going to enroll for the program, indicate that you're just going to enroll. Don't say it has been ongoing, and then these things eventually come out. Anyway, so please provide the documents to our clerk so that we don't go back to this issue. I want us to move to other, because now we have said so many other things that have caused confusion.
The fact chart, the fact that this expenditure was supposed to act. By the time this matter comes to us,
I want to inform the committee that the matter has been dealt with. Audited accounts, financials to the board. So the board picked it out, the board of that time. So the subsequent events.
When you go to the issues raised by the Auditor General, specifically, yeah, board, at about what? 28,000 US dollars, that's over 100 million. And given the entity that you are, there's supposed to be procurement and that kind of thing. What happened? I want a quick response to that, because this was red flagged by the Auditor General.
Director of Finance, colleague Paul Turachaisenga will respond to that. Thank you.
Was an issue that we admit that shouldn't have happened directly. It's an issue that has been picked up by other reports, and the team that was involved in doing it were punished. So,
how were they punished?
Well, this is one of the issues that came up during the investigations when the management team was suspended. And the conclusion was it was not correct. Because let me maybe give a background. What happened, we bought vehicles for the entire network for all the countries we operate in. And the tender had been awarded to Toyota. So the decision was to buy from Toyota in the respective countries to avoid re-importation issues. And it so happens that in South Sudan, there is no Toyota. There is no Toyota franchise. So at implementation stage, the error that was done is it should have been, now that there was no Toyota, we should have done a competitive bidding for the other companies to participate. And this specific one was picked directly, which we agree was not correct as per the procurement guidelines, but we will not repeat it again. Thank you.
Initiated from State House last year that led to the suspension, and later it ended in the disciplinary termination of some employees, including the former chief executive officer, several managers, and the other officers. They were generally terminated on the basis of allegations of mismanagement, but they were not specifically pointed out that this one was responsible for, like in this case, that for the importation of, or the purchase of the motor vehicle for South Sudan, so and so was responsible. For the procurement officer and the CEO. So those were terminated.
Okay, yes, Honorable Baka.
Chair, the company secretary has confused me more. When you say they were terminated, but names of the culprits were not indicated, now who was terminated? The financial director, is it finance director, said he was one of them. So they must have cleared his name that they had wrongly suspended him. Those are the details we wanted to know. And those few who remained that were incorporated in the loss of this amount, the names are clear because you cannot terminate without mentioning the names. And then we call it a punishment, and we said this one was cleared because it was innocently suspended.
Okay, thank you, Honorable. Now for allegations on misprocurements which were made, termination was made for the Chief Executive Officer, the Manager Procurement, and the Procurement Officer. That was Mr. Conwell Mleya as the Chief Executive Officer, Conwell Mleya. Then the Manager Procurement at that time was Mr. Moses Wangalo, and the Procurement Officer was Tom Gidudu.
Clarification.
And there was an administrator called Nyakana Andrew.
Clarification, Chair.
Yes, please.
Chair, I want to get clarity from the company secretary, who happened to be a lawyer. The process took place and many staff were terminated. But in his submission, he's still calling them allegation. Is that still allegation, or I want clarity from him?
The procedures, you may be aware, honorable members, this is an administrative procedure. It was not a court procedure which went ahead to determine that you have been guilty of that, and it's just an administrative procedure. This was an administrative process, and an administrative process does not end in a conviction like of court. So your employer comes to a determination under the disciplinary mechanism that he finds you.
But then respond to me as a company secretary.
It was a procedural issue, non-compliance with PPDA requirements. I wanted to make that clarification. Then in regard to the charge, the suspension, there were quite a number, and most of them related to procurement, which includes these ones, because as you realize, I'm the Director of Finance and Support Services, which includes procurement, IT, and administration. However, I got those extra roles of support services effective December 2020. So all the allegations that were brought forward had happened prior to my taking over procurement. So I was exonerated of all procurement issues because I was not responsible in the process. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Jessica, then Honorable Nekesa and Roland. Oh.
I don't think this small issue of direct procurement done which at the airline. So the measures that have been put in place, one, either to relieve that matter, but the issue where people have been terminated, we shouldn't gloss over it and just move ahead. We need to understand that because of that mismanagement and what are the mitigation. We are in excess of 500 billion. The Auditor General's report is that there was no revenue compared to the costs. Benefits of an airline. But we need to, in the business, or we are saying, because the airline brings in some tourists. So we need to understand it so clearly. You realize any person who would want to understand what kind of plan, because it may not necessarily be to understand the composition, this component of employees' expense. What does it entail? What is the breakdown of 27 billion? In addition to that, they are saying overhead expenses of 19 billion. Now, when we talk of overhead and employees' overhead expenses, they are now not related to the other expenditure, which is direct costs of 163. So in addition 27 billion, there is another 19, which makes it around 47 billion. All that amount is not clearly broken down for us to come to a conclusion on the prudence, on the accuracy of this money. So to me, I think, Chair, we need a lot of information on this to understand the breakdown of these figures. Thank you, Chair.
Been taken to conclude the investigations. What I reported was about administrative action by the governing organs, the shareholders, and the board. Now, in all the recommendations on these disciplinary matters, all the cases were referred to the IGG to do the thorough investigation and determine who should be charged or not. So the investigation has not closed. That is administrative action, which is okay under the contract.
Okay, now, I don't know if the finance person, Paul,
and I accepted that, yes, operationally we have some.
Are they on fire?
Yes, I talked about them. Thank you, Honourable Member. But before I go to them, to make this clear, 77 billion is related to depreciation of our equipment. Our major assets are the aircraft that we have, and about 74 is aircraft, then the other money is for the other equipment. So this is non-cash. So the real cash loss, I hope you are following, is 86.
But that also, so depreciation of that amount, 77 billion, in about a year?
Yes, our equipment are depreciated on average 5%. These aircraft are worth about 1.1 trillion. So 1.1 trillion, 5% of that amount is close to that. It is okay.
And then you bought new equipment, we
Very
understand.
brand new. And they take us on average about 20 to 25 years. That is an industry calculation that is okay. So I wanted members to understand that the real loss in terms of money is 86. And last time, I remember when the question of whether the project is viable or not, I went into some figures, and I remember mentioning that about 57 billion came back to the economy as the local supply purchases. And about 14 billion is paid back to the consolidated fund through URA as taxes. So when you add those numbers, you realize that we are narrowing out the 86 billion. Before I go to the non-quantifiable benefits, which are employment, I said over 90% of our staff, we are about 480 now, are Ugandans. I mentioned that before we started, we are now operating 11 routes. Our plan is to go to about 18 routes by the end of the next financial year. We have now direct access to the cities that we were not connected to before the start of this Airline. I mentioned that the travel trade, and you can confirm from research, the manufacturers and exporters, they now find it easy to deal with us and export their goods outside.
Chairman, you know the economy is an integrated system.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Nekesa, as he
looks
figures out that.
As looks it up, the director mentioned something about aviation fuel as one of the costs that they pay attention to, and my directly affects aviation industry, for that we know. So I would like to perhaps hear from him how far they've been done to avert this issue of fuel with the airlines, because we fear that our airline may go down again if we don't address it and adhere to it.
Service equipment for the Airbus. The Auditor General is talking about a figure here of 319,000 US dollars. That's about 1.2 billion, which was used to purchase certain things, you know, to purchase blankets, pillows, serving trays, serving glasses, headdress covers, and headphones. Yeah? About 1.2 billion Uganda shillings. But there was no evidence that these items were actually delivered, witnessed, for the quality and quantity to be handed over to the stores.
Chair, have we now diverted from
available? They were not availed to the Auditor General to ascertain that this 1.2 billion shillings bought these things, you know, blankets, pillows, serving trays, serving glasses, headdress covers, and headphones. Have you got the figure that you were looking for of the employees? What's that figure?
So the salary is 14 billion. I'm breaking down the 27 billion.
14 billion?
Yeah, for the Uganda staff, then outstations 3 billion, making 16.9.
14 plus 3 is 16.9.
Okay, 2.9
okay.
Is for outstation. 14 billion is for local.
So roughly 17.
Then,
that's per annum.
Yes. Then we have gratuity. It's 10%. So it is 3.7. Then we have NSSF contribution. Yes, 3.7 billion. Let me run through, then I respond to that. Then there is, okay, to answer your question, I wanted to answer it at the end. In the way we report, the salaries of pilots is reported as a direct cost. So the figure I'm reading to you is for all staff excluding pilots, because the pilot salary is part of the direct cost. So now the 3.7 include...
Chair, I think what we need in that regard are the financial statements themselves. The financial statements, we shall look at the figures ourselves and then... Why? It was not provided, I was not provided with evidence that the items were actually delivered, witnessed for quality and quantity, and handed over. If there is no evidence, and the Auditor General has discussed this matter with the management before, in the exit meeting before leaving the premises, and they have failed to give him the documents, then we recommend that this money is recovered from the supplier.
Just chair. Just chair.
Yes, Honorable Okupa, then Honorable.
Can you now avail the documents? Since for you are insisting that the documents are there, can you avail the documents? That's one.
But you see also on that point,
then you bring them to the committee.
You know, we begin to smell a rat.
That's not proper.
Because the committee, we are not an auditing firm, an audit firm. You know, it's complicated. If the Auditor General is unable to audit something, especially with these financials, how do you bring to us documents as a committee and then we audit? Because you had an exit meeting with the Auditor General and he's saying eventually the issues were not seeing the equipment, but also the documents were not availed at all.
Let me conclude. Why I brought it